Welcome to Gulfstream today. Welcome to beautiful Gulfstream Park. Ron Nicoletti along with Acacia Courtney. And it is the start of another 5-day week here at beautiful Gulfstream Park. And what's exciting about today? Two-year-olds.
Yes,
will
it
start
is.
running
Yes.
today.
Yeah, we have the 2-year-old fillies today, and we'll have the boys tomorrow. So very exciting time of year here.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great 2-year-old program, and they always kick off mid-April, and we see them. They go 4.5 furlongs. We'll be talking about that race a little later on. We got a fast main track. We have a firm turf course, and let's go through the wagering menu here. We're going to start it off with the Rolling Super High Five, and we have that Rolling Super High Five every race with the 7 or more runners in it. And of course, we got 2 pick fives, and you're going to have 2 of those tickets. So the first one in race number 1.
I will. I'll take a stab at both pick fives, and then we'll have the Rainbow Six. Bit of a carryover in there, 13,700, and that does start in race 4 today with this 9-race card. And then we cap it off with the final pick 5 in race number 5. Ron, can't wait to see your Rainbow Six ticket. I did have a tough time finding singles today.
I did not find a single today, but oh, I did. I did find a single.
Did?
Yeah,
Oh.
I was debating whether to make it a single. We'll talk about that when we get to race number 4. I found one, but taking a bit of a shot in there. Now, today's first race this afternoon, 1 mile and 1/16. As we mentioned, the turf course is firm. Maiden claimers, 3 and up, $12,500. 8 will go to the post. There's no scratches, jockey changes, and Acacia's going to show you her first of 2 pick 5 tickets right now.
Yes, I will. Well, as I mentioned, had a tough time of finding a single, but I did keep it affordable, just $48 to start things off, using the 2 and the 3 in the first leg, then spreading in the second. I wanted some coverage in there. That is our first 2-year-old race, and sometimes you just don't really know what's going to happen in there, especially with the fillies sometimes. And using just 2 again in the third race, 3 in the fourth, and 2 in the fifth. Would have even liked to go deeper in the fifth if I could, but again, kept it affordable, $48.
$48 for that first of 2 pick 5s this afternoon. And I started off, I don't know how you did, number 2 in here, Rory, who moved to the Angel Rodriguez bond after the claim drops to this $12,500 level. Blinkers added today. Failed to get on track. That was against 20 maidens the last time out. We talk about this connections all the time. They usually spot horses where they think they can win. So I just thought on the drop, and you know, with the addition of blinkers, that maybe this horse will wake up, and currently on the board at 4-1.
They really do spot their horses well, and I wasn't about to leave this horse off of my pick 5 ticket for that reason. But first off, the claim on the turf, we've talked about this as well. Not the most productive move for the barn. Actually, in the past 5 years, first off, the claim on the turf is just 2 for 14 and a negative ROI of 71 cents. So I did use this one a little bit further down. I like the blinkers added. Definitely seems to need to break out of the gate a little bit sharper when looking at that last race in particular. But I did land on the number 3, Frost Lion, and I had a little bit of a tough time with this race, but I think that Frost Lion has the potential to be the speed in here, and that's why I did put him on top. It looks like this race is kind of lacking in clear early speed, so I did go with this one, adding the blinkers on third start off of the layoff and with these connections.
Well, the number 4 horse currently favored up there at 2-1 is who I have in second. You got a ticket. We got the same super, just all boxed around. This one is dropping to the 12.5 level. It's sort of the horse sort of hopped at the start. He raced while tracking the pace. He finished 4th. It was against 20 maiden race at the distance. The obvious concern is the 0 for 23 record. I mean,
that's why I used this horse a little bit further down. He has had some good performances against a little bit lesser company, and I think that he does fit at this level on paper, but he is a long-time maiden, so I was looking elsewhere.
And we both used the number 7, No, stretching out to a mile and a 16. Surface switched last time, finished 3rd, but came late. Still looking for that speed in the opener.
Absolutely. He was a little bit pace dependent, so that is the puzzle when you are looking to figure out the pace scenario.
As we let you know, we have our first 2-year-old race of the year, 4.5 furlongs, maiden special weight, fillies, 2-year-olds, and we'll have 7 runners in the field. And you went with the number 2 horse in here, Pantyhose, who's a full sister to Affirmed and prize stakes winner, 225.
Yes, she is. She's beautifully bred, and we know Awesome, of course, does. He's a great sire, especially for maiden special weight horses, and a very prolific sire. And Ralph Nix just doing a great job with his first-time starters as well. I liked the pedigree on this filly. A lot of precocity. The mare was a multiple stakes winner and won at first asking as a 2-year-old, and 225A did win at first asking as well.
And I'm going to show you a stat on Ralph Nix, and this one I find rather incredible. We're going to also show show you a stat on Wesley Ward. Everybody knows about Wesley Ward, the 2-year-olds. But first we'll do with pantyhose. Over the last 5 years, first-time starters, 2-year-old fillies on the dirt right here at Gulfstream. 11 for 27, 41% win average, 70% in the money, and still somehow a positive return of investment of $2.44.
That's a great stat. And I just kind of any real 2-year-old first-time starter at Gulfstream angle you take with Ralph Nix. I looked just with maiden special weight types. He just does an excellent job. And I liked the work tab as well, so that's why I did land on this one.
Well, I went with the number 6 Lounge Act on top is by Asai. The Asai is creative cores. And if you look at creative cores with first-time 2-year-old starters, 9 for 46, so 20% with those first-time starters. As I mentioned, debuts for Wesley Ward, pair of solid 3 furlong drills up at Palm Meadows, 1 on the turf, 1 on the dirt. Starts her career with Lasix. Now I want to show you this other stat here with Wesley Ward. Over the last 5 years, first-time starters, 2-year-old fillies on the dirt at Gulfstream. Sound familiar? But only 4 for 13, 13%. 35% in the money with only a 78% ROI, 78 cent ROI over the last 5 years. And I got him on top.
That's what I was going to say. You still put him on top. And yes, it is Wesley Ward. And sometimes we just see his horses, especially the younger ones, that they're just so fast out of the gate that really is the key. And especially looking at that sharp work over the turf course, do expect to see this filly fit in here. But I used her a little bit further down because of those stats too. And I just kind of preferred a few others in here. We do have a couple from the barn of Stanley Gold as well. I had interest in the number 5 Baylor, who has a sharp work tab as well. So this is only 4.5 furlongs. Sometimes it's just really who gets fastest out of the gate with these younger fillies or just younger horses in general. And Baylor, very sharp work tab in typical Stanley Gold fashion by freshman sire Brethren, as is the other Stanley Gold horse Menage. And this one out of a stakes winning dam.
Yeah, there's 6 workouts for this horse, so certainly ready to go. And Stanley also does an excellent job with his 2-year-olds. And didn't want to overload you with stats in here, but
we'll give you plenty over the next few weeks.
Let's go to race number 3 this afternoon. 1 mile on the turf starter allowance, 3 and up started for 16 or less, or the optional claiming pro. It's 16 or less. That's it. It's not optional claiming. It's just starter race in here. We do have a scratch of the number 4 Appa in here, and I went with the number 6 Mr. Magic. You went with the inside horse Global Entry.
I did, and we'll get to Mr. Magic in a second, but I did land on Global Entry because last time out, I think that this horse has been in sneaky great form, had 2 wins in a row, and then last time out did the comment is that it was traffic. I don't know if it was really traffic. I think it might have actually been hesitation on the rider part. It looked like Paco Lopez was looking for a place to go, looking for a hole, and Paco just kind of has a knack of finding a place to run in the stretch, and unfortunately that just didn't really happen with this horse last time out. He was no space, or he couldn't even make space in the stretch there, and then he had to go outside after waiting a little bit longer. Unfortunately, Sight, the winner, just got the jump on him, but I actually really did think that there was a lot left in the tank last time.
Well, number 6 Mr. Magic is turning back to a mile. He broke from the rail. He set the pace. He finished second, was a 16 optional claimer. What I like about him, I think he's prominently placed at this shorter distance, and he controls the pace or thereabout.
He certainly should control the pace, and we'll go back and show that last race. This was, I think, the race that knocked a lot of people out of the Rainbow Six that day, as Hampstead Heath did end up getting the win. But you can see the number 1, Mr. Magic, out in front. We'll let it roll from there, and he does end up opening up from the rest of the field. As you can see, it really looked like he did most of the dirty work. And then as you can see, we'll just freeze right there. And I'm going to highlight the number 2, the gray Hampstead Heath right there. He is the one that ends up winning, and we'll let it roll just from there. So you can see Mr. Magic, how far ahead of the rest of the field he is. You have some horses closing, and really, if you're just even watching the chicklets on the bottom, Hampstead Heath just comes rolling and rolling on the outside. And I just wanted to highlight how Mr. Magic was game to hold on in there. I just hope that maybe won a little bit less distance than the 1:16 he faced last time out, and maybe he can harness that speed a little bit better today.
What I was watching was the fractions. They went 3/4 and pretty quick, so he was going pretty quick. You could understand him getting a little leg worry, and I think the turn back is going to help Mr. Magic. Would I leave Global Entry off? No. The third horse we want to talk about is number 3 on the star. Going to try these starter allowance runners after a couple of solid efforts at the 16 level, in which he placed second, was beating the nose that day, but she was placed first and and then, came back and was a half-length winner, so in good form.
Absolutely in good form. Now, this is a mare going against the boys today. She's a 6-year-old mare. She's been in excellent form lately, so I do think that you have to respect the form that this horse has been in.
Yeah, and I scratched into her. I had her down in 4th, but I moved her up and then put the 7th, 4th, because I had 4 APA on my ticket that day. For a 4th race this afternoon, we're going to take a break. I forgot, because we got Rainbow 6 starting in race number 4 today. Hard to keep track, but that's what we'll do. Take that break.
All right.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet. We are racing.
Equestricon.
Equestricon.
The first ever international racing convention.
The first ever. For the fans.
Meet the legends.
The breeders, the owners.
The jockeys like me.
The best of the industry.
Come celebrate racing at Equestricon.
Welcome back. Gulfstream today, Gulfstream Park. Beautiful Gulfstream Park, Ron and Acacia. Race 4, 6 furlongs. Maiden claim is fillies and mares. 3 and up, $25,000. One jockey change to let you know about on the number 2. Make the redder Carlos Hernandez. As we mentioned, a little over about $14,000 in the pool. Show you my ticket, $43.20. And as we mentioned, I had a single here in race number 7 as the 5 Porter Street from the Wesley Ward barn. I need Wesley to have a big day this afternoon. And then you see 4 deep at the end. I got my long shot in there. It's 15-1 on the morning line. So I wanted to go deep in these early races. Why? Because they're wide open, I thought. How'd you start the 4th?
Well, I think that we're in agreement with how to start the 4th, and I do agree with you that there are some wide open races today. So if you can find an opinion and find a place to single, that is the best way to go. But the number 1, Princess Knoll, was where I landed in here. I think that she's got a lot of speed to her. I like her now second off the layoff. She's actually had 2 good second-place finishes. Queen Roller, who beat her in her debut, went on to finish second and then win again after that. And so I think that the speed's going to be to her benefit today with the inside post, and hopefully she can improve off those last 2.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you. Trained by Antonio Sano, Edgar Zayas handling the inside post this afternoon. Now, number 7, Sweet Deal, is dropping to the 25 level after facing tougher, including a 5th place finish against $40,000 maidens going 5 furlongs on the turf. So I want to show a stat with trainer David Forks. Turf to dirt, sprints, maiden claiming right here at Gulfstream Park. Only 3 for 25, 12%, 36% in the money, and a $1.27 return of investment. So not one of the big angles for this barn.
No, it's not. And it's interesting because this filly actually showed a lot more speed on the dirt than she did in her lone turf start. So that disappointing performance, maybe that is the reason for her switching back to the dirt surface. And maybe the drop in class is going to help her, but it's a good stat to take note of because she showed a little bit of promise in her maiden $75,000 try, but her last couple of starts since then have been a little bit more lackluster.
Well, I like the name of the next horse, the number 3, Umbrella Drink. Our cameraman, Dennis, always, when we're at the bar, has those drinks with the umbrellas in them. This is a $100,000 daughter of Stay Thirsty, debuting for 25 for Todd Fletcher. Did we get the flag out, the red flag?
I think we do, or the red umbrella, however you want to look at it. But yes, I just had a big question mark next to that tag on my notes here. But it's interesting because she's beautifully bred. She's by Stay Thirsty. As you mentioned, she is kin to stakes winner Strut the Canary, who was a 5-time dirt sprinter, even though the Dam's only win was on the turf. So we'll see. I think it's from the Todd Fletcher barn, debuting as a first-time starter. You have to take note, but it is interesting to see she's in for the tag.
And I'm not leaving her off the ticket,
No.
and I know you wouldn't either. That's what we were talking about, why I want to go a little deeper in that early part of the Rainbow Six. Now, race 5 this afternoon, 7½ furlongs on the turf. These are claimers 4 and up, $10,000. We do have a jockey change on the 2, make the Rada Grado Carales. And I went with a horse in here in race number 5 that I thought was 5-1 on the morning line, and I thought was a logical one. Now, let's see your ticket and see if you used it.
All right, well, let's see. I did not find a to single, as I mentioned before, but $54 for me. I don't think I used the horse you're talking about, just sneaking a peek over here at your notes. And I did not single the horse that you singled. In fact, I did not use that horse on top. So we'll see what happens here with our tickets. But again, $54 for me. And again, I agree, some wide open affairs today.
Wide open affairs. Well, being I was talking about the 5-horse and you dominate, I'll tell you why. This one is dropping to this level after stalking the pace and failing to hit the board when facing tougher in the trio of turf outings at the $16,000 level. What I did was go back. 6 for 7 in the money at this level during the 2016 spring and summer meeting, which includes a pair of victories. That's what I was basing this on. I figured I'd get a little price. I'm glad to see you have it in 4th.
I do have it in 4th. I certainly respect this horse. He's a 7-year-old horse. He's had 57 starts already. He's the 2-time local winner. And he actually does come out of a very good race. There were 2 next out winners, including the 2nd place finisher, Hidden Vow, who got an 80 Beyer speed figure for his next race. And Star Contender was 2nd just by a head in his next outing. So I think he comes out of a good race, though. I did prefer another one dropping in class, and that's the 4 Not Today, who I think just needs a drop in class after his last 2 races. If you look at the last time that he won, it was against $16,000 claimers, and he won by 6 lengths that day. So obviously they thought highly enough of him to step him up, actually to even face stakes foes in the Little Magician, which actually was a pretty competitive field. He then tried starter optional claiming starter allowance company last time and didn't really fare too well. So it is an aggressive drop in class and a quick turnaround, but I just think he might be coming in stronger than maybe the rest of the field.
Well, what I like him, he likes to do his best running in the latter stages of a race and just cruise down the past performances. And you'll get to the number 3 horse named Weezer Gone Gray. Guess what? That one's going to the lead, and so is, I believe, Vitalago. We're going to try and go to the lead. So might set up for a horse I would not leave Not Today off the ticket. Now, the horse I did not use on my ticket is the number 6, Shake Things Up, and this one from the Jorge Navarro Bond. And every time I don't use this guy, he wins. When I do use him, he loses. So I'm worried.
Well, yeah, I hope that he runs like he did last time, and we'll actually go back and show that race. He comes out of a race with Weezer Gone Gray. As you said, Weezer Gone Gray wants the lead. That's Weezer right there, the number 2 horse, and you can see Shake Things Up, the 6 and the red blinkers on the outside. So we'll let it roll from there. And it actually looked like Shake Things Up wanted the lead. Weezer Gone Gray ended up getting the lead. You can see him fading a little bit now, and I thought it was a very nice move on the outside from the number 6, Shake Things Up. And you can see, actually, if we just freeze right there, he is the number 6 right there. But I wanted to highlight this horse. Oops. Wrong one there. Still getting used to this. Telestrator, the number 3, Wolf Dance closing on the outside. That's Weezer Gone Gray right there, holding on strongly. Now we'll let it roll down to the down to the wire, because I wanted to highlight the horse closing on his outside and how game he was to hold on and get the win that day. So he showed that he doesn't need the lead, which was the biggest point I was trying to make.
And the number 1 horse here, actually the morning line favorite, Vitalago. This one drops a notch, breaks from the rail. He led every step of the way, holding on to defeat 12-5 claimers going a mile. Fernando Abreu, 10-pound apprentice. Abby Medina, inside post. Gotta go.
Gotta go. He wired the field last time out, and I think it was mainly because nobody expected him to wire the field. He came off of a 9-month layoff, and imagine he'll try to do just that again today.
Well, race 6 this afternoon, 5 1/2 furlongs, maiden claiming fillies, 3-year-old, $16,000. Couple of jockey changes on the 2. It's Carlos Hernandez on the number 6, Lionel Reyes. I went with the number 4, and here, there goes Bella. You went with a horse in number 7 that I did not use on my ticket.
We covered a lot of colors in the rainbow in our picks this afternoon in this 6th race, and I think that really just goes to show how wide open it is. And I did go with the first-time starter. That's the 7, Dreamin' of Aunt Antil, I think is how you say it. It's a first-time starter, so we're guessing there. But it's from the barn of Angel Rodriguez. First-time starters, he actually does have some sneaky good success at the maiden claiming level, and this one has a very sharp work tab, very consistent work tab as well. So I do think that she could be one that's ready to fire at first asking and placed right.
I got to watch one, but that's fine. I can understand it. It's certainly second choice in the morning line, so the line maker's thinking the same way that, you know, this horse is going to run well off those workout patterns. I did go with the horse you have in second. There goes Bella. Dropping to this level today after returning from refreshing. He went up, tracked the pace that afternoon. Weekend to finish 4th was a 35 maiden sprint contested at 3/4 of a mile. I think the turn back to 5.5 furlongs is the key for this one's success.
Maybe it will be. She's kind of been racking up the defeats. It was interesting because she came out of a couple of very strong races. She was a distant second back in November to Worth Avenue, a horse that was just running out of her skin and running in very good form. And then they actually even stepped her up from the $35,000 level to the $50,000 level. And she ran well. She just hasn't been able to get the win yet. So now it's an aggressive drop in class. I think it's a little bit of kind of a last-ditch effort for her to try and get that maiden win. So today is the day if she can do it. But at a price 15-1 on the morning line, a long shot for me is the number 8, Sassy Slew, who hasn't shown anything yet, but is finally getting to a fast main track. And in her debut in the slop, that's actually turning out to be a monster key race, with the winner being the only one with experience, and then the next 3 finishers coming back to win their next outing. As he said, it's a price, big drop in class, and the blinkers added.
Well, number 1, Cope, is stepping up to competition. Promising 12-5 career debut. She carried wide on the turn, still managed to finish second. I don't think it's that big of a jump up in class because this is a wide open affair, as you can see, as you said, by our rainbow selections.
Absolutely.
Let's go to race number 7 this afternoon. This one, 1 mile on the turf. These are maiden claimers, 3-year-olds, $50,000 down to $40,000. 2 scratches in here of the number 6, King Mauro, and number 7, Mr. Bridger. And this is where I told you that I singled the 5, Porter Street. But let's start with your horse in here, and that is Harlan's Quest, now in the Joe Orsino barn.
Now in the Joe Orsino barn, and we'll go back and show the last race for this one on March 26th. He was the number 3 that day. And I wanted to highlight, you can see him there, the number 3, how he was a bit wide early, but was driving in the stretch, and we'll let it roll from there. And I want to keep an eye on the number 3 and the number 2, Campagno, who did end up winning that race. And so you can see the number 5 about to stop now, and it will just freeze right there. These 2 horses, it becomes a 2-horse race between the 2 of them. So keep an eye on the 3 as we'll let it roll through the wire now. There's a bit of bumping. You can see the 2 drifting out a bit. There's some traffic. Unfortunately, the 3, Harlan's Quest, pushed outside. They're off of the rail in here. Horse trying to sneak in on the rail. But again, those top 2 were very game down to the wire, and Harlan's Quest just beaten a neck.
Yeah, good performance. I mean, I got him on the ticket for all of that, and I was just watching him getting pushed out there a little bit. But I tell you why I like Porter Street, the number 5, drop it to the $50,000 level on the turf after threatening to break her maiden. That was a trio of 1-mile maiden special weight races. That was up at Turfway Park on their synthetic main track. And I want to show you a stat with Wesley Ward with in this particular race. It was synthetic to turf, 31 to 60-day layoff. He's 11 for 47, 23%, 49% in the money, and a $2.95 ROI. I like the drop. I think this horse ran well in those races up there. Of course, it's a little bit of a guess how this one translates from the synthetic to the turf here, but positive numbers. Wesley Ward, I figure that's my chance to maybe get through with a single today.
And maybe it is. Maybe the surface switch to the fast main track will help this colt. And if you just go back and watch those races, though, this is the reason I didn't end up putting this horse on top. First of all, he was beaten at 40 cents to the dollar last time out. It's been 3 races. Yes, he's been beaten by slim margins. And the comment last time is hung. And sometimes you go back and watch a race and there is some sneaky trouble. But really, he just did not want to win in all 3 of his races, or so it seemed to me in watching those races. So we'll see if the drop in class from special weight to claiming will help, and the surface switch. But again, kind of, I used him in the pick 5, but did want to just see one over this surface.
Well, then that's the, you know, I'm banking on that they decided to try everything new for this horse to get him to run. Now, I went with the 4 in third, and you went with the 1 in third, so let's hear about the 1.
First-time starter from the barn of Todd Pletcher on the turf. If you remember, I didn't end up putting this one on my ticket, even though he's nicely bred, because for the barn, first-time starters and maiden claiming at Gulfstream is 0-13, and that's looking at the turf. So you never really see a stat like that from the Pletcher barn, but with this particular move, maybe needed a race.
Well, you know, the race you just showed, that horse that was closing on the inside was the 4 Distorted Union, the one where we just showed got beat 2 next. So this horse was closing well. Those 2 outgamed him, but this horse is stretching out slightly. Got beat those 2 necks. We're behind Harlan's Quest, excuse me. There's a horse I think you got to have on the ticket. 8th race this afternoon, 6 1/2 furlongs, allowance optional claimer. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up with an optional claiming price of $62,500. one jockey change, one scratch. The jockey change comes on number 1, Flutter By, make the rider Miguel Vasquez. Also scratched the number 2, Our Girls Charmer. And I was waiting to see if you put Flutter By on top. I did not do it, and I don't know if it's going to cost me, but I could not do it.
I know, and I didn't either. And the interesting thing for Flutter By is she is such a classy 6-year-old mare. She is trained by the one and only Jerry Bozzo, and we absolutely respect her. She came off of a 10-month layoff to run in the Sunshine Millions Distaff last time. That was back in January. She's been freshened a little bit since then. Unfortunately, did not finish up well in that race. And that's just what her last couple of races have been like. I mentioned she just is completely all class. She likes to go to the front and wire the field. And my concern with her is that she's now a 6-year-old mare. She's second off the layoff, which is good, but there is some other speed in here, which does concern me.
Yeah, you know, if you look at that work at Gulfstream Park West, getting ready for this race, 58-3, so this one is moving. But I did go with the number 8, More Than a Party, and this one is my best bet of the afternoon. A grade 3 stakes place, sprinting on the distance on the dirt, is going back today to the main track, returned from about a 9-month layoff, set the pace, faded when trying $100,000 optional claimers, going 7.5 furlongs on the turf. It's Eddie Broom, Tyler Gaffleone handling the surface switch, going on that back class. I think this horse is going to run exceptionally well. Love the turf to dirt angle. And
it's interesting because your top pick has a very similar change as my top pick.
Right.
Off of a layoff and now switching from the turf to the dirt. More Than a Party went 9-month layoff, tried the turf last time, now going back to the dirt where she's had most of her success. 4 Inch Heels, the number 4 where I landed, came off of a 6-month layoff, tried the turf last time and didn't really like that at all, was a little bit rank and just never looked comfortable throughout that race. Now goes back to the dirt where most of her success has been. And I mentioned that pace scenario before. More Than a Party is not slow. She's got speed to her as well. My Dear Venezuela has some speed, and certainly Flutter By will be the speed from the rail. So I thought 4 Inch Heels can stalk, and the Service Barn, both if your name is Service, both John and Jason, everything has been running well from their barn.
Yeah, Nick Borers will be in the saddle. So More Than a Party, I don't think needs the lead. I think that's what I was thinking. It's carving a position, shown speed in the past, but I don't know if it needs the lead now. Flutter By's got to go, especially when they drilled it. And if Flutter By wins, congratulations to Jerry Bozzo. I mean, it would be fantastic. I had to back off. I know it's going to hurt me, but I had to do it. The 9th race this afternoon, the final race on the Wednesday card, 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf. Maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $25,000. Jockey change on the number 6. Make the rider Gilbert Chamafi. We both went with the number 7 horse in here, and that is My Life.
I like this one dropping in class. Does have her tag sliced in half, but it looked like she needed it from that last race. She ran okay. She's got some speed to her as well. I like that the blinkers go on, and I think with the added blinkers, she'll be even more forwardly placed. It just looks like she's going to be in the perfect spot today.
Well, let's show you a stat on Mr. Pletcher. Over the last 5 years, first-time blinkers, maiden claimers on the turf, 2 for 18, only 11%, 39% in the money, $1.71 ROI. Yeah, you say, oh, that's a cautionary stat, but I really, dumbed it down to like with blinkers on, so there's not many that he tried that way. Right. Just wanted to pass that along.
And the 18-horse sample size for the Pletcher barn is very small, but it is worth noting. That's why I didn't end up singling this horse in the last race, though I do really like her a lot in this spot. But the number 10, Gold Lace, has an outside post, but it's a 1 mile and 1/16 in here, so a little bit more time to get into position. A significant drop in class from the maiden $75,000 level to the 25. And last time out was about 3 wide early and was closing outside before she flattened. So maybe the added blinkers for Bill Mott is what's going to help her finish up stronger, because in her debut race, she was off kind of slow, but she came surging really strongly in that.
Yeah, so now the number 6, Don't Talk Back. We both have this horse in 3rd.
Yes.
And, I think this horse could, if he breaks good, he could be trouble.
Yes, she could, and I used her on the ticket because of that, and I want to go back and show her last race, and you mentioned the break. She did kind of sit in the gate a little bit, so we'll go back to that race. This is on March 11th, so keep your eyes right here on the number 5, and we'll just let it go from there. As you can see that she does kind of sit in the gate and hop out, and we'll freeze right there. And I wanted to highlight, there she is right there, so she's already behind the rest of the field a little bit. Now we'll let it roll, and you want to keep an eye on the number 5 because then she ends up rushing up and is very keen. And now we'll freeze it again. You can see she's up there, up front, and she's a little bit rank as well and hard to handle. So now we'll let it go. She was just, again, it looked like the rider, Louis Size, was having a hard time making her settle because she was off slow, and then she was just wild and wanted to get to the front. Now you can see her, she's struggling a little bit behind the top 2. She was getting a little leg weary. She probably expended a lot of energy early on, but then she re-rallies along the rail, and we'll freeze right there because there she is along the rail. You do have some horses coming on the outside over there, but I thought it was a huge run from her on the rail, and we'll let it go now through the wire as she does re-rally. Again, you have horses closing outside, but my problem is that once she got to the front, she had expended so much energy early on that she couldn't get there in time.
One of the reasons she's right on my ticket.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. We have her in 3rd, but you can make a great case for putting her up further on the ticket there. Maybe even if you get a good price on her, you make a little bit of a wager on her to win in there. And I mentioned the jockey change to Gilbert Chamafi. So that is how we see our 9-race card this afternoon. And we have 2-year-olds. Race number 2, the first 2-year-old race of the year.
It should be a lot of fun, and can't wait to see how these fillies do today.
We have to take care of these horses that, give us so much joy.
Being